What if I told you the most prestigious award in music was created because executives felt left out? You see, every year, artists cry on stage holding a golden gramophone, careers explode overnight, sales skyrocket. And yet, some winners have stood out on that same stage and said,
I don't know what this means. I don't think it means anything. That's just how I feel. Thanks, I guess.
So, what is the Grammy Awards really? The celebration of music or the music industry celebrating itself? Today, we are pulling back the curtains, and by the end of this video, you might never see that golden trophy the same way again. You see, the Grammys were born in the 1950s, not from artists, not from fans, but from executives. While working on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, recording industry leaders realized something uncomfortable, that many influential music figures would never qualify for a star on Hollywood Boulevard. So, they decided to create their own award show, something that looks like the Oscars and the Emmys, but for music. At first, they considered naming it the Eddies after Thomas Edison, the inventor of the phonograph. But that still didn't make much sense to them. So they decided to hold a mail-in contest where they received over 300 entries, and majority of the entrants chose the Grammys as their preferred name. A name inspired by Emile Berliner's gramophone. So the first ceremony took place on May 4th, 1959, with only 28 awards to be given. Winners included Ella Fitzgerald and Frank Sinatra. It looked noble at first, but from the beginning, this was an industry solution to an industry problem. Keep that in mind, because it matters later. You see, that golden gramophone you see on TV was handmade in Ridgway, Colorado by Billings Artworks. The design was strengthened using a zinc alloy called Grammium to prevent damage. But here is something most people don't know. The trophies handed out during the live broadcast are often stunt trophies. They are not engraved yet. And after the show ends, the real trophies are engraved with the winner's name and handed over to the winner. You see, even the symbol of prestige is part of the production. Since the 2000s, the show have mostly been held at the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. Red carpets, designer gowns, global broadcast. It does feel massive, but let's talk about how someone actually wins, because this is where things get interesting. So, here is how the Grammys voting process works. Recording companies and members of the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, NARAS, would submit entries online. Over 150 industry experts would review those submissions. Their job was to make sure each entry is placed in the correct category. Then, voting members would receive ballots. In the first round, the vote to determine nominees. Members of this committee can vote in the 4 general categories: the Album of the Year category, Record of the Year category, Song of the Year category, and Best Artist of the Year category. And they can vote in up to 9 additional genre fields. The top 5 vote getters become nominees. After that, a final ballot goes out. Members vote again. Delegates tabulate the results privately, and whoever gets the most votes actually wins. In theory, members are required to vote based purely on quality. They are told to not consider sales, chart position, friendships, company's loyalty, or regional bias. Only quality. But here is the tension, because some artists believe that is not what actually happens. In 1996, when Pearl Jam won Best Hard Rock Performance, the lead singer Eddie Vedder stood on the stage and said,
I don't know what this means. I don't think it means anything. That's just how I feel. Thanks, I guess.
You see, Maynard James Keener of Tool was even more direct when he said, I think the Grammys are nothing more than some gigantic promotional machine for the music industry. They cater to a low intellect. They don't honor the arts or the artist. It is the music business celebrating itself. That wasn't some random Twitter rant. That is a Grammy Award winner himself speaking. The question now becomes, if the system is designed to reward quality, why do many respected artists distrust it? Hold that thought, because the structure of the awards makes it even more complicated. Originally, there were 28 awards. Today, there are over 90 categories. The rock genre wasn't recognized until 1980. Rap wasn't recognized until 1989. The best music video wasn't added until 1982. So, one thing is obvious, as the genres evolved, the Grammys expanded. By 2011, the number of awards had ballooned to 109. The Academy later reduced it to 78, thereby eliminating gender-specific categories, solo versus group distinctions, and everything else that they felt didn't matter. That does sound progressive, but only about 10 to 12 awards are presented during the televised ceremony. The rest of them are handed out earlier in the day during what's called the premiere ceremony, meaning hundreds of winners never get that prime time moment. So, the public sees a polished highlight reel while most of the awards happen off camera. Then, is it about music? Or is it about ratings? You see, let's be clear. Winning a Grammy can change everything. It often increases record sales, boosts visibilities, elevates careers. Beyoncé holds 35 Grammy wins. U2 holds the record for most by a group. Kendrick Lamar became the most decorated rapper in Grammy history with 27 wins. Billie Eilish won all 4 general categories in a single night at the age of 18, making her the youngest to have ever done that. That kind of recognition is powerful, but here is the contradiction. Some of these same artists have also faced criticism or snubs in major categories, which leads us into the most controversial part of the Grammy story. The Grammys have repeatedly faced accusations of racial biases. Despite Beyoncé being the most awarded artist in Grammy history, she had lost Album of the Year multiple times, a category where Black artists have historically struggled to win. Gender bias has also been questioned. In 2008, Lorde was nominated for Album of the Year, but reportedly was not offered a solo performance, while her male counterparts were. Then there are financial concerns. In 2020, comedian Tiffany Haddish revealed she was invited to host the Grammys premiere ceremony, but was told she would need to pay for her own wardrobe, makeup, and hair. She said, "I think it's disrespectful." Rhiannon Giddens criticized a policy where nominees had to pay hundreds to over $1,000 to bring in a guest, which could have been a significant other. And in the year 2020, Recording Academy CEO Deborah Dugan alleged that the voting system was flawed and subject to conflict of interest. When insiders start questioning the integrity of the system, it stops being gossip. It becomes structural doubt. Now, we have 2 realities existing at the same time. 1, the Grammys are the highest honor in music. 2, the Grammys are political, industry-driven machines. Both can be entirely wrong and both can be entirely right either. So, what are the Grammys really? They are glamorous, they are influential, they are powerful. They are also selective, political, and commercial. They began as an industry solution to recognition. They evolved into a global spectacle. They reward excellence sometimes, they overlook excellence sometimes. Maybe the Grammys isn't fake. Maybe it's just human. An award created by an industry, judged by the same industry, celebrating itself. And yet, artists still dream of it, fans still watch it. And when that golden gramophone is lifted into the thin air, it still feels like history. I'll leave you with this question. If the Grammys disappeared tomorrow, would music lose anything, or would the industry? Let me know what you think in the comment section.